Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I am Mick Alfany. I appreciate you being here. And if you appreciate my work and everything that I do here, please whitelist me on your ad blocker. I would greatly appreciate that. Now, I just want to share a little bit of the thoughts that I've been having as the rain is just pouring outside very nicely, very heavily. And it gets my mind moving, my mind thinking. Now, this all ties in with the bank coins. This is major, by the way, major. There are some major tie-ins. I see everything sort of coinciding right now with either a completely digital future for the world or a mostly digital. Now, I know a lot of people will say right now that, well, Alfany, we live in a mostly digital era right now. No. Not in the way that it could become. There is a reason I believe that everyone is so on board. When I say everyone, I'm talking about large business institutions are so on board with the idea of the metaverse. There's a reason for that. I think this has always been anticipated. It was just a matter of time before an organization with enough money and also a great enough reputation among the people to be able to implement such a thing. Enter Facebook. Right? Here's something that I was paying attention to. Now, keep in mind, the best possible way to move money back and forth between large business institutions, and it will become the best way for small businesses as well. As soon as marketing kicks in, those small businesses are going to want to use the bank coins, XLM, XRP, Algorand, HBAR, Cello. Okay? They're going to want to use that because they will want to save a ton of money. They will want that security. And it will help them experience a boom, the likes of which they would have never experienced otherwise. Now, circling back around. And also, before I even move on to what I was going to say, keep in mind that if the banks use these particular things and the people find that out, and they will, once the marketing kicks off, they will find out that the banks have signed up for it. They will say to themselves, if the banks are using it, I want to use it. If it's secure enough for the banks, it's secure enough for me. And that's going to bring an entirely different wave of money to these particular protocol. Well, that is while people can get in, that is, until those prices start pricing people out a little bit there, especially with any protocol that requires you to hold a certain amount, of course, right? Like, for instance, XRP has like a 10 XRP requirement. What happens if that price goes up enough? A lot of people will be priced out. It'll be too expensive. You have to get the 10 XRP to hold the account just to start accumulating XRP, right? So no, some people, depending on how high that price goes, would be priced out of XRP. And you know, hey, that's just how it is. Warehouses, office space. Let's start talking about this and how it relates to the metaverse. And also the banking coins, which is going to mean, in my opinion, these connections we're about to make, hang in there with me, which means that there's going to be big money flowing through the banking coins because of the necessity of the large business institutions, not even necessity, but the desire for them to save even more money that is easily accessible now because of the metaverse. Now, let me explain what I mean. Warehouses, a lot of these big organizations, right? These big companies, they're renting warehouse space. They're renting what do they call those? Sort facility space. They're not purchasing those warehouses outright. Okay. So they have like a contract. And so the contract might go for like 5 years, 7 years, 8 years. Then they have to renew that contract. If they don't renew that contract, they have to leave. Now, the contract is not the issue. What the issue is that they're paying a lot of money. They're paying a lot of money. Now, pair that with the fact that redacted things happened. So a lot of their workers couldn't even come into those warehouses to perform their duties. Now, also keep in mind that, yeah, if you want to keep the human factor involved, you can have those human factors operate drone robots and drones and things like that. We don't have to say drone robots. Really, they're just drones inside these facilities. It's not really robotics as you would have them, right? But you can have certain workers run those drones and run those systems that sort your things and sort your products or stow your products. You can have them still participate. You can still have the human element by having them participate through drones, right? Which could be run through a metaverse-like structure. Now, that's just the ones that you want to come into those particular warehouses. Let's go back to the contracts. They're paying a lot of money, a lot of money to rent or lease those warehouses. They have the opportunity coming up soon to, if they purchase land, I guess they could rent land in the metaverse, because so many people, they raced and purchased all the land in the metaverse. But those businesses can buy the land or just build on top of land that they leased or rented in the metaverse and build their companies on top of that. Their buildings have a designer come in and construct the building in the metaverse for them, and the people that can't attend, or maybe they just make it so that the people have the option to clock into their jobs in the metaverse, right? So now you can either downsize your warehouse or eliminate it completely. Eliminate it completely. Now, let's not say warehouse. Sorry about that. What I'm saying here now more applies to office space. So let's think about it that way. We don't need to pay all of this money for office space if we can just have an office in the metaverse. We own the building outright. Maybe we even own the land if we were wise enough to purchase metaverse land. We can have all of our workers who are just sitting at computers anyway, come into the virtual office space, the virtual building, clock in there, sit at their virtual desk from their home and perform all of that work. The supervisors can be there. They're seeing everybody do the work, okay? And perform those duties at a virtual office space, in a virtual building. Now those businesses are saving an exponential amount of money, which now they can play with that money. So maybe they allocate that somewhere else and increase on that money now. But now at least they have this bounty of money to play with. And they can eliminate office space in the metaverse. I think that's definitely a possibility. And there's a reason that I say that, because in the members only section, I just went over this. I just went over a statement from a very powerful individual indicating that this is an idea that's floating around the industry right now, that's a possibility. How does this relate to the XRP, XLM, Algorand, HBAR? If you made it this far, I really appreciate you making it this far. If you have your large businesses running offices inside the metaverse, it will be logical that also a lot of the data is going through the metaverse, like maybe payroll data. Everything's going to be interconnected. There's going to be a oneness of the system. What would you trust more than the bank coins to move your money back and forth between payroll to workers, inter-office payments, inter-building payments, inter-business payments, whatever it might be? Who would you trust more than the bank coins, who we all know the banks trust? If the banks trust them, once again, I reiterate, if the banks trust the bank coins to move their money back and forth, then the businesses will too. They will jump at the opportunity to use something like that, just like the banks. Because if it's secure enough for the banks, it's secure enough for me. If it's good enough for the banks, the big money, it's good enough for me. And I wouldn't settle for anything less. Who wants to settle for less? So yes, I believe XRP, XLM, Algorand, HBAR will play a huge role in that. Huge role in that. I wouldn't trust anything else with my payroll. I wouldn't trust anything else with moving money back and forth in the metaverse or otherwise. So I think that they will play a huge role in that particular way. Now, another interesting thing. So then another thing is banks inside of the metaverse. So you still have people are still conditioned to want to go into a bank facility, and banks do need a representative, a representation of themselves, right? So let's say a lot of banks have been doing terrible when it comes to money. They've been doing terrible. You all know why I say that. A lot of you understand their financials. You understand how they have survived the fact that they had to be bailed out, and that they're using the same systems that caused them to have to be bailed out the first time. They've been having all these infrastructure problems where they've been getting shut down by redacted events, and there's bank runs. They don't have enough money on hand. They're loaning too much money out. They don't have enough money to give to their people. If everybody comes all at once and say, hey, can I have my money? They have to say no and lock the doors. So the banks can still have a representation of themselves, and they can save money if they close a lot of those branches. So let's say you wanted to go into a branch, they can have a virtual branch. You can still stand in line. You're going to have to wait. That's not going to change. You still have to wait in line. You can wait in virtual line. Then you can speak to a teller. It's still a real teller, but it's in the metaverse. It's in a virtual world. You can still talk with them. They're still going to help you the same way. And hey, it might even look better. It'll always be clean, so it won't be less than some of these banks. You know, it may look better. They have pro designers in the digital world, so you'll still have all those same elements and be able to provide all of those same services. So you have to have something notarized. Okay, they can see it right there. They can see the document right there. I mean, there's different ways you can do it. There's different ways you can do it to make sure it's a live viewing of whatever document it is that you want to have notarized or something. I don't know how they're going to do it, but there's ways. So let's just say they provide all of these services at their branches in the metaverse. They're saving a ton of money. Now, back to XLM and XRP. You need something to conduct the movement of your fiat currency back and forth. Who do you trust? XRP has hundreds of banks signed up already. XLM has hundreds of banks that are looking forward to using them based on IBM, LightNet, the Stellar Foundation itself. They have a lot of banks waiting to use them. Algorand, same thing. They are going to benefit from that. You're going to need them more than ever, especially now that you're going to be saving so much money. You're going to be less apt to want to put out high intermediary fees based on legacy system offerings. If I'm going to save all of this money now using a new method, might as well go all the way. I think a lot of businesses think that way. And you get addicted to saving money and seeing this bounty of money that you stand to make. There's something exhilarating about that. You want more. You don't want to lose money. You say to yourself, why am I paying these high intermediary fees? If I'm going to be in the metaverse, I have a digital representation. This is new. So why don't I just use the new financial system where everybody else is saving all of this money? They're not going to cut themselves out. They're going to cut themselves in. And in fact, they're going to cut themselves into a big piece, in my humble opinion. Now, these are all possibilities. There's no guarantees, but I'm telling you what I'm seeing. And as I said, there's a very powerful individual who is pretty much saying, if you see that members only video, or if you read that particular document yourself, that this is a notion that is floating, a possibility that is floating around in the minds of people that are in the industry. So when we talk about the new financial system, XRP, Stellar Foundation, who are going to become extremely powerful in the future, by the way, extremely powerful. They're going to gain, moving that much money, they're going to gain a lot of money. And with a lot of money comes a lot of power, a lot of say in what goes on in the world. So this all goes back to, we are literally, in my humble opinion, not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I almost messed that up. But we're literally holding pieces of the new financial system. So when I say digital gold, digital silver, they're just cute terms. But they convey that particular idea that these are highly valuable. And they're going to play a part in how the world is shaped in more ways than one. And that money is going to come, in my humble opinion, in steps because of things like this. We have to see how it all develops. There's this new system. It's just like how the old system formed. It formed in pieces, slowly over time. But those people who are involved, they are the people that rule the world today, right? Yes, they are. They're the people that have all the money. And I'm not talking about the new money. I'm talking about old money, wealth. You don't even know their names. That's how old the money is. They just have money for generations. They don't even have to think about fiat currency. They don't even have to think about money. Those were the people that were involved in the building of the legacy system when it was the new system. Those are the families that were involved. We are there right now because of all of this that's coming on. There is a new world being born. Okay, and so the old world, who knows what's going to happen to it? There's so many collapses that are possible. It's definitely possible. But out of the destruction of one thing, oftentimes there is born something new. That's just the way it is. All of the old civilizations, like not all, most of them are built on top of literally the ashes or the old broken down structures of the old. You dig deep enough, you're going to find a city underneath a lot of these cities. All right. You're going to find megalithic structures that were once homes, the homes and worship areas and places of people underneath this city, this town that you've been living in for so long. You dig deep enough, you get megalithic structures. Okay. So this is something that is common, an old world falling and a new one rising, but it's something special if for those people who have the eyes to see and get a hold of a piece of that world to say, yes, I want to be involved in that. And of course, it's chancy. Of course, it's chancy. But we increase the odds of being able to participate in something like that with research. Doing your own research was never more important than right now. Knowing and understanding the catalyst so you can act quickly or you know when to get into something. That is important, but you have to know yourself. You cannot trust someone else with that information. You can't. Look at it yourself. Even if somebody were to bring something to you, I would say read it yourself. Read it yourself. Look it up yourself. Okay. And we all have different amounts of time that we can do that. So some have less, some have more, but anything is better than nothing. This is the time of research. This is the time of doing it yourself. This is the time to rise. And once everything kicks off, I think it's going to have more impact than people think, than people believe. Sorry about that. I used think twice in one sentence. Shouldn't do that. I think that it's going to have more impact than people believe. And I feel like it's going to shock people. It is. I'm waiting to hear in the next few months about what Stellar Foundation is working on, because they're working on some things. And I told people this. You see how, remember last year when I was saying that Stellar was working on a few big things, right? And that it would shock people when they came out? Because you find out certain things, right? And then like 2 months later, then somebody leaked. Remember that MoneyGram announcement was a leak. They weren't happy about that. They leaked that. And then that forced everyone to come out like, yes, we're working with this. We have this going on. I believe that's how it happened. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure that's how it happened. Now it's just like everybody just feels like Stellar just came out and just said that. And MoneyGram just came out and just like, yeah, we have this partnership. But it was at first, it was leaked before they made the official announcements. But that wasn't it. I told people that wasn't it. It's just a matter. It's just a matter if they can close some of those deals, some of those partnerships. So there's no guarantees. Maybe they won't. Maybe they won't. Not all negotiations, not all meetings, not all partnerships go through. Not all deals go through. But let me tell you something. If they land the ones that they're supposed to land, that they can land. Whew. And you know, I'm going to say this also. And there's no guarantees. Okay. I know somebody's watching this video right now. They're like, Alphanine. From some foundation, they're like, Alphanine. Don't worry. I'm not going to say too much. I'm going to say this, and this is just logical. I'm already good with XLM. I'm good on all the banking coins. I'm okay. But if certain things happen, and maybe it won't, maybe it won't. Maybe they can't close. If certain things happen, there might be a little bit of a spike. A little bit of a spike. Not a parabolic runs we're talking about with the banks and stuff like that. But people see that, hear that information come out. They're going to FOMO so hard. They are. If Stellar Foundation can pull it off, all right. If they can pull off a few of these partnerships that they're trying to land behind the scenes, people are going to FOMO so hard. It's going to drive that up, you know. And hey, you know, I'm not even going to say anymore. I have enjoyed these lower prices for long enough. As simple as that, you know. But anyway, now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? Oh, and the same thing I'm saying about Stellar. Wait. Just wait. Algorand has been giving you a lot, haven't they? They've been giving you a lot. Let me tell you something. You haven't seen anything yet. Wait. You haven't seen anything yet. Algorand is going to It's going to shock the whole cryptosphere. Algorand is going to shock them. If everything continues to go according to plan, mark my words. Mark my words, Algorand is going to shock a lot of people. Anyway, no guarantees. Now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. Keep in mind also, people, let me end with this because there's a lot of new people here. It doesn't matter to me whether you buy or sell. It does not make a difference to Alpha Neem, okay? I'm not here to tell you to buy or sell. It doesn't make any difference. The parabolic runs, the generational wealth that we're waiting on happens with the banks. That's it, with the banks. That's all. So now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, let's get to the money.